Looks like you're all clear on the injury report.
I'll know today for sure, but it looks like it, yeah.
Okay. Scott Brant Nicklin, I know you've given him a few kudos here. I wonder if you can expand more on his role with the team and just, I feel like what stood out with all these goaltenders, yeah, he sent guys to the pros, but he's also developed a pretty high level of consistency with your goaltenders the last 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, probably nothing I haven't said before. I mean, you guys asked before what the common denominator was, and I think I was pretty blunt about who it was. I mean, I think he's done an outstanding job with our guys, our goaltenders. I think he's, not only developed them within how they play, and that's not easy. I think some of these guys work with goalie coaches in the off season and maybe have growing up. So it's not an easy task sometimes to get in and try and modify or expand on someone's abilities. So I think it's working within that, trying to get them to understand how to make them more efficient. I think he's done that. I think he's done a great job with guys that aren't playing, trying to keep them in there, keep pushing them to get better so that they get the opportunity, they're ready. But he has a real good demeanor with those guys, and they meet all the time, and they have their little goalie nation, so I don't interfere with it. But he's been a big reason. There's no question, in my opinion, that our goalies have gotten better while they've been here.
Do you use him at all when you're scouting and recruiting goaltenders or all, or is he just the guy that handles them once they get here?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously he can't recruit, so I mean but if there's guys that we get tape on, we'll certainly have him look at some things that he sees, but not very often. It's happened a couple of times, I think, since he's been back on our staff.
Do you see, right now he's a volunteer for you. Do you see a future for him, as a full-time coach, whether it's here or somewhere else? Or
that's not up to me. I mean, obviously, I think he's certainly got all the abilities to make a good goalie coach somewhere or an assistant coach. Yeah, and he's been there. He did that at Scholastica for a little bit, so he was in that world for a while. So, but it's whether he wants to go back and do that, and if he gets that opportunity, he certainly would be more than ready to take that on.
With Shep, Coach, kind of expanding on that, are you starting? He's always kind of been a really calm and confident guy, but after that Saturday win, I saw more emotion from him after the final buzzer than I've seen. Is he starting to kind of get into that? Are you starting to see more emotion come out of him?
No, not really. I mean, he's very talkative on the rink. I think that's just the competitive side of him. I think that's always been there. I think that's what has got him this far. It's a big part of it because it's when you have any player that's got that competitiveness and that fire, I think it drives them and it keeps them going. And I think I do think one thing you mentioned, calm. I think he's calmed his game down in the net for sure, as far as just from where he started here 2 years ago. I think Brant's had a big part in that, and just getting him to kind of quiet it. He'll be a little quieter in the net, and I think that's made him more efficient.
The last time that when you came back from Kalamazoo with 2 shutout wins over Western, one shutout, one goal, but you were worried about kind of ramping back up for the next weekend. Did that Miami series kind of get rid of that, or what's the focus going into this weekend?
I don't care about what happened before. We got a game to play on Friday, and we've got to put all our attention to beating Denver, and that's going to be a tall task because obviously they're a tremendous hockey team, and we've had 1-goal games with them, and a couple of those maybe could have gone either way without some, making the mistakes we made in critical areas at critical times. But it's going to be a good challenge for us. But that's where all our focus is right now. And what you've done before doesn't really matter right now. It's all about what's ahead of you.
Scott, you mentioned, I think you heard it yesterday, you mentioned Denver's a team that doesn't take a lot of penalties, and the power plays are few and far between. What can you guys maybe do to put them in a position to maybe take some penalties, or are you guys going into this expecting a lot of 5-on-5 on Friday?
Well, I hope it's a lot of 5-on-5. I mean, obviously, I hope that we're not the ones taking the penalties, but again, part of that is have the puck more. Put them in situations where they have to defend and And conversely, if it's our way, we're going to probably take more penalties than them. You know, they're a puck possession team through and through, all the way up the rink. They don't, you know, whether it's zone entries, whether it's obviously in the offensive zone, they play very well as a 5-man unit, and they make defending very difficult. And you know, when you get tired, you tend to make mistakes, and you tend to take penalties. And our goal is to try and stop plays defensively, and you know, obviously try and do a good job on our rush defense against them, and ultimately play with the puck more in the offensive zone. I think when we've done that, we put ourselves obviously in a better position to score. And you know, if it means that we draw penalties from it, so be it. But I don't see it being a really highly penalized game either way. But those will certainly be the circumstances both ways if there's going to be more penalties.
How have you seen your team evolve since winning the Lead Yard Classic with 17 and 18 players that weekend?
Well, I think defensively we've gotten better. I think you know, offensively we've been pretty consistent. We've gotten good balance from our team. I think you know, different guys scoring, and I think that bodes well for us. I think any line can score, and you know, we got some defensemen chipping in too. But I just think you know, we got those guys back. I think from that tournament, I think without those guys, our team grew a little bit closer together, and we knew getting those guys back would certainly help our team. And I think they've been good since they've been back, and I think it's really you know, given us a lift. We've stayed healthy relatively, which has made it good for practice and competing and different things like that. But you know, we went through that early in the year where you know, we had the injuries, and takes a little bit away, but the second half we've been relatively healthy, give or take a guy here or there, which happens. But and I think the chemistry in the group has kind of come together too, and when you win games, obviously that helps. And you know, we've had a good last 8 or 9 games here, so hopefully we can carry that forward into this weekend. You get to this time of the year, everybody's good, so whether it's Denver or St. Cloud or North Dakota, wherever we're going to play in this tournament, you know, it doesn't get any easier if you move on.
You won a trophy at that Ledyard Classic.
If you call it a trophy.
You won a cup or something, whatever it was.
I think it was an ashtray with a cover on it.
How much emphasis do the guys put maybe on winning trophies this time of year when there's one on the line this weekend?
Well, we don't talk. You know what? There's one trophy that's available this weekend. It was sitting in this rink for a year, and obviously those guys know what it is and want to try and get it back. Certainly the guys that have been that were a part of it last year. So that's the next step, and hopefully we can accomplish that.